Hello viewers, so far in this series of lectures on multimedia, we have discussed what multimedia basically is and one of the components of multimedia, that is text. So, the next topic for discussion in this series is images, and in this lecture we will be talking about the graphical approach, organizing the tools, configuring computer workspace and differentiate among bitmap, vector and 3D images. Multimedia on a computer screen is a composite of elements like text, symbols, photographs, distinctive buttons to click and windows of motion video. The computer screen is where the action is, and it contains much more than your message. It is also the viewer's primary connection to all of your project's content. The discussion will help you understand the visual elements that make up a multimedia presentation. Graphic elements can usually be scaled to different sizes, colorized or made transparent, placed in front of or behind other objects, or be made visible or invisible on command. How you blend these elements, how you choose your colors and fonts are the hallmarks of your skill, talent and creativity merged into the all-important visual connection to your viewers. Before you start to create, plan your approach. At the beginning of a project, the screen is a blank canvas ready for you to express your craft. The screen will change again and again during the course of your project as you experiment and reshape elements, draw new objects and test various colors and effects, creating the vehicle for your message. Whether you use templates provided by your authoring system, clip art or objects crafted by others, there will always be a starting point where your page is clean. But even before reaching this starting point, be sure you have given your project a good deal of thought and planning. Work out your graphic approach either in your head or during creative sessions with your client or colleagues. To get a handle on any multimedia project, you start with pencil, eraser and paper. Outline your project and your graphic ideas first. Make a flowchart or storyboard the project. You may not nail it with the first design you submit to a client. Get a few examples from them or have them look at templates from a site such as templatemonster.com. When you have a clear idea what they want, submit a few variations, different visual designs and layouts. Whole of this exercise does help in good designing and works for the satisfaction of the client. Organize your tools. Most authoring systems provide the tools with which you can create the graphic objects of multimedia directly on your screen. If one of these tools is not included, the authoring system usually offers a mechanism for importing the object you need from another application. When you are working with animated objects or motion video, most authoring systems include a feature for activating these elements, such as a programming language or special functions for embedding them. Likely your tools will offer a library of special effects including zooms, wipes and dissolves. Many multimedia designers do not limit their toolkits to the features of a single authoring platform, but employ a variety of applications and tools to accomplish many specialized tasks. Configure your computer workspace. When developing multimedia, it is helpful to have more than one monitor to provide lots of screen viewing area. In this way, you can display the full screen working area of your project or presentation and still have space to put your tools and other menus. This is particularly important in an authoring system such as Flash, where the edits and changes you make in one window are immediately visible in the presentation window, provided the presentation window is not obscured by your editing tool. During development, there is a lot of cutting and pasting among windows and among various applications, and with an extra monitor, you can open many windows at once and spread them out. Both Macintosh and Windows operating systems support this extra hardware. Making still images. Still images may be small or large or even full screen. They may be colored, placed at random on the screen, evenly geometric or oddly shaped. Whatever their form, still images are generated by the computer in two ways, as bitmaps and vector-drawn graphics. Bitmaps may also be called raster images. Likewise, bitmap editors are sometimes called painting programs, and vector editors are sometimes called drawing programs. Bitmaps are used for photorealistic images and for complex drawings requiring fine detail. Vector-drawn objects are used for lines, boxes, circles, polygons, and other graphic shapes that can be mathematically expressed in angles, coordinates, and distances. A drawn object can be filled with color and patterns, and you can select it as a single object. The appearance of both types of images depends on the display resolution and capabilities of your computer's graphics hardware and monitor. Both types of images are stored in various file formats and can be translated from one application to another or from one computer platform to another. Typically, image files are compressed to save memory and disk space. Many bitmap image file formats already use compression within the file itself. Still images may be the most important element of your multimedia project. If you are designing multimedia by yourself, put yourself in the role of a graphic artist and layout designer. Take the time necessary to discover all the tricks you can learn about your drawing software. Computer literate skills in graphic art and design are vital to the success of your project. Remember that the user's judgment of your work will be heavily influenced by the work's visual impact. Bitmaps. A bit is the simplest element in the digital world, an electronic digit that is either on or off, or true or false. This is referred to as binary, since only two states, on or off, are available. A map is a two-dimensional matrix of these bits. A bitmap then is a single matrix of the tiny dots that form an image and are displayed in a computer screen or printed. A one-dimensional matrix is used to display monochrome images where each bit is most commonly set to black or white. More information is required to describe shades of gray and color information that each picture element might have in a color image. These picture elements, commonly known as pixels, can represent varying shades of color as shown. Bitmap sources. Where do bitmaps come from? How are they made? Bitmaps can be made from scratch with paint or drawing programs. You can grab a bitmap from an active computer screen with a capture program and then paste it into a paint program or your application. Capture a bitmap from a photo or other artwork using a scanner. If you do not want to make your own, you can get bitmaps from suppliers of clip art and from photograph suppliers who have already digitized the images. Libraries of clip art are available on CD-ROMs and downloadable through many online services. Many graphic applications are shipped with clip art and useful graphics. Some 3D modeling programs incorporate libraries of pre-made 3D models into the application, allowing you to drag and drop common objects into a scene. You can also download an image bitmap from a website. Once made or acquired through any of these methods, A bitmap can be copied, altered, emailed, and otherwise used in many creative ways. Regardless of the source of the image, you should always be aware of who owns the copyright to the image you wish to use and what is required to reproduce the image legally. Legal rights protecting use of images from clip libraries fall into three basic groupings. Public domain images. They were either never protected by a copyright or their copyright protection has ended. Generally, these can be freely used without obtaining permission or paying a license fee, though there still may be an ownership issue for a particular work of art, such as a painting owned by an art gallery. Royalty free images are purchased and then used without paying additional license fees. Rights management images require that you negotiate with the rights holder regarding terms for using the image and how much you will pay for that use. Photodisk, a commercial source of royalty free images, a part of gettyimages.com, can provide you with a variety of images. The Photodisk collections contain high resolution bitmaps with a license for their unlimited use. But you should note that unlimited use often contains limitations. In many cases, there is an upper limit to the number of units of your own product that you may distribute without paying more. However, these additional fees are usually reasonable and affect only commercial multimedia publishers. So, once you have a bitmap, you can manipulate and adjust many of its properties such as brightness, contrast, color, depth, hue, and size. You can also cut and paste among many bitmaps using an image editing program. If the clip art image is high resolution, you may discover that you can grab just a tiny portion of the high-res image. Bitmap software. The abilities and features of painting and image editing programs range from simple to complex. The best programs are available in versions that work the same on both Windows and Mac platforms, and the graphic files you make can be saved in many formats, readable across platforms. Macintosh computers do not ship with a painting tool, and Windows provides only a rudimentary paint program. So, you will need to acquire this very important software separately. Many multimedia authoring tools offer built-in bitmap editing features. Adobe's Photoshop, however, remains the most widely used image editing tool among designers worldwide. Many designers also use a vector-based drawing program such as Adobe's Illustrator, CorelDRAW, or InDesign to create curvy and complicated looks that they then convert to a bitmap. You can use your image editing software to create original images such as cartoons, symbols, buttons, and abstract images that have a refined graphic look, but it is virtually impossible to create a realistic looking photo from scratch using an image editing program. The artistic painting tools offered by Corel's Painter include hundreds of brushes, sprays, watercolors, inks, and textures to mimic the output of natural media in a bitmap. There are also many open sources and free bitmap editors available. You just need to type graphic editors in a search engine and you will find a number of them. Regardless of your program of choice, learning to use a high-powered paint program and image editor is a necessary investment in your multimedia future. Capturing and editing images. The image you see on your monitor is a digital bitmap stored in video memory, updated about every 1/60th of a second. As you assemble images for your multimedia project, you may often need to capture and store an image directly from your screen. The simplest way to capture what you see on the screen at a given moment is to press the proper keys on your computer keyboard. This causes a conversion from the screen buffer to a format that you can use. Both the Macintosh and Windows environments have a clipboard, an area of memory where data such as text and images is temporarily stored. In Windows, when you press print screen, a copy of your screen's image goes to the clipboard. From the clipboard, you can then paste the captured bitmap into applications such as Paint, which comes with Windows. On the Macintosh, the keystroke combination Command Shift 3 creates a readable PNG format file named picture and places it on your desktop. You can then import this file's image into your multimedia authoring system or Paint program. You can also press Command Control Shift 4 to drag a rectangle on your screen and capture what is inside the rectangle onto the clipboard, ready for pasting. The way to get more creative when manipulating bitmaps is to use image editing programs like one of the programs named previously. These are the king of mountain programs that let you to be creative. In addition to letting you enhance and make composite images, image editing tools allow you to alter and distort images. A color photograph of a red rose can be changed into a purple rose or blue if you prefer. A small child standing next to her older brother can be stretched to tower over him. Morphing is another effect that can be used to manipulate still images or to create interesting and often bizarre animated transformations. Scanning images. After poring through countless clip art collections, you still haven't found the unusual background you want for a screen about gardening. Sometimes, when you search for something too hard, you don't realize that it's right in front of you. Everyday objects can be scanned and manipulated using image editing tools such as those described in the previous discussion. For example, to enliven a screen with a gardening motif, scan a mixture of seeds, some foliage, or grass stained garden gloves. Open the scan in an image editing program and experiment with different filters, the contrast, and various special effects. Be creative and don't be afraid to try strange combinations. Sometimes mistakes yield the most intriguing results. Another alternative to computer generated graphics is to create artwork using traditional methods, watercolors, pastels, and even your crayons. You can then scan the image, make necessary alterations, and tweak pixels on the computer. Too many designers have fallen into the trap of trying to draw detailed sketches using a mouse or drawing tablet when a pen or pencil on paper would have produced better results and quicker. Powerful filters and plugins are offered by most image editing programs to manipulate bitmaps in many different ways. Always experiment with your filters and plugins. Vector drawing. Most multimedia authoring systems make use of vector drawn objects such as lines, rectangles, ovals, polygons, and text. Computer aided design programs have traditionally used vector drawn object systems for creating the highly complex and geometric renderings needed by architects and engineers. Graphic artists designing from print media use vector drawn objects because the same mathematics that put a rectangle on your screen can also place that rectangle on paper without pixelation. This requires the higher resolution of the printer using a page description format such as portable document format. Programs for 3D animation also use vector drawn graphics. For example, the various changes of position, rotation, and shading of light required to spin an extruded corporate logo must be calculated mathematically. So, during this discussion, we talked about graphical approach, we learned the art of organizing the tools, then we discussed why we should have 2 monitors connected to a multimedia workstation. And lastly, we learnt what bitmaps are, where to get them, and how to manipulate them. We did talk a little about vector graphics, which is not enough, and we shall be talking about them later. And not to forget, we shall also be talking about 3D graphics in detail in our next discussion. So folks, see you in our next discussion on vector graphics. Thank you very much.